Hi, I will start the presentation by talking about what is equity. Equity comes from the Latin word equitas, which means fairness. It goes beyond strict legal rules, focusing on fair outcomes when the law alone is inadequate. The maxim that we are going to talk about in this presentation is he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. This maxim means that anyone seeking help from the court must act ethically and fulfill their obligations before they bring the case to court. This maxim also ensures that equity remains a fair system by preventing unethical conduct. Nowadays, equity still continues to play a vital role in modern courts to ensure justice is done. I'll pass to the next presenter.
Now, I will be explaining about the nature of the maxim, he who comes to equity must come with clean hand. So the legal rule of this maxim, if someone who asks fairness in the court must act honestly and fairly. If someone's action involves dishonesty, fraud, or wrongdoing, then their claim might be denied. So in the case of Daring against Earl of Winchelsea, 1787, it was clarified that the misconduct must have a direct and necessary relation to the claim. The court only considered wrongdoing that impacts the fairness of the specific case, ensuring that the maxim is applied equitably and not for general bad behavior. So, an example, in the case of Palaniappa Chettiar against Arunasalam Chettiar, 1962, a father transferred a land to the son's name to avoid taxes. So the son refuses to grant the power of attorney to the father, so the father sued the son. So the court rejected the father's claim because it was based on fraud. This is applying to the maxim. In another case, Boy against Bosch, 2018, where a wife accused a judge of being biased in a divorce case without evidence. The court dismissed her claim, saying fairness cannot support baseless accusation. So this maxim aligns with the public policy, ensuring justice by preventing parties from profiting from their own wrongdoing. It reflects the court's commitment of fairness and discourages illegal activities, maintaining the integrity of equitable remedies. That is all from me. I will pass to the next presenter. Thank you.
Next, for the application, the maxim he will come to equity with clean hand is often used when someone asks for equitable remedy, such as an injunction, as well as specific performance. Also, in the court at first place will consider a number of important factors before deciding the case. The most important factor that the court will consider is whether the applicant misconduct is directly related to the claim that they are making. Court will only reject the equitable remedy if first, the wrongdoing has immediate and also necessary connection to the issue in dispute. For example, in the case of Eller against Chong 2022, Chong sought to dismiss Eller claim on the ground that Eller had unclean hand for violating a non-compete agreement with his employer. However, in this case, the court rejected the defense because Eller misconduct was not directly related to the issue. The court emphasized that the clean hand principle only applies if the applicable wrongdoing is directly related to the equity remedy applied for. As we can see here, it is important for such misconduct to be related to the issue itself because the misconduct that is unrelated to the claim will cause the claim to be rejected. The next factor is whether the misconduct is legally and also morally wrong. Minor or technical misconduct may not cause a claim to be dismissed, but fraud, dishonest, or also illegality will be considered serious and may deprive the applicant of the right to an equitable remedy. For example, in the case of Daring against Earl, the court explained that the wrongdoing must be related to the law and also morality. General misconduct or also bad character as well is not sufficient to deny the applicant the right unless the misconduct affect the fairness of the claimant. So lastly, the court will look at when the misconduct is occurred. Misconduct that occurred before or during the transaction on which claim is based is more likely to result the claim being rejected. Misconduct that occurred after the claimant is made by not affect the court decision. This is more likely because it has become a legal right rather than equitable right. For example, if the applicant commit the misconduct during the contract of negotiation or also during the execution of the contract, the court may reject his claim. However, if the misconduct occurs after the agreement is signed, it may not be relevant to an equity claim.
The maxim of he who comes to equity must come with clean hand can be seen in the case of Pelican Engineering Berhad and Anadis against Malaysian Trustee Berhad and Anadis 2021 MLJU 116. In a situation where parties fail to fulfill their obligation under several agreements and repeatedly request extension of time, despite having been given many opportunities to fulfill their commitment, this principle will be used to reject their application for equity remedies. The court will insist that the consent judgment is legally binding and cannot be changed except under exceptional circumstances. The inability of those companies to fulfill their obligation, coupled with dishonest behavior and repeated failure, shows that they do not come to court with clean hands. Equity requires the parties to act reasonably and in good faith. In this case, the company requests to extend the payment period and amend the consent judgment will be denied due to their failure to comply with the previous agreement, delay, and dishonest behavior. This maxim emphasizes the importance of acting with integrity and honesty when seeking equity remedies. The maxim, he who comes to equity must come with clean hand, and ensure that courts do not reward parties who act improperly or dishonestly. Repeated failure, delays, and dishonest behavior of such company will render them ineligible for equity remedies. The court decision will emphasize that equity remedies are only given to the parties who act reasonably and responsibly.
As for the limitation of the maxim, the first one, which is delivery up and cancellation of a document. This exception applies when a plaintiff seeks to cancel or remove a document, which is fraudulent or invalid document, to protect the public and not personal interests. Even if the plaintiff has acted wrongfully, the document's existence still could harm the others. For example, a fraudulent title could threaten public records. In the case of Argyll against Argyll 1965, the court granted relief to cancel a fraudulent document, prioritizing public interest over the plaintiff's misconduct. This ensures the integrity of record and prevent misuse, making the plaintiff action irrelevant. The second limitation, which is declaratory relief. Declaratory relief occurs when the court formally declares legal rights or obligation without requiring further actions. It is natural and clarifies legal position or resolve uncertainty. Since it is not based on fairness but on stating the law, the plaintiff's misconduct is irrelevant. For example, if a plaintiff seeks a declaration that a contract is void due to illegality, the court may grant it to clarify the contract status regardless of the plaintiff's wrongdoing. Now move to injunction to prevent multiplicity actions. This exception arises when a court issues an order to stop wrongful actions to avoid multiple lawsuits, ensuring judicial efficiency and serving the interests of justice. The plaintiff's misconduct is secondary to the goal of preventing unnecessary legal proceedings. For example, in Cosford against Johnson 1886, the plaintiff sought an injunction to stop further legal actions on the same issue. Despite the plaintiff's failure to fulfill obligations, the court granted relief to prevent overlapping lawsuits, prioritizing judicial efficiency over individual wrongdoings. This could ensure related matters are resolved in a single proceeding. The last one, which is statutory relief. This exception applies when the relief sought is based on a specific legal right provided by the statute. Court enforces this right regardless of the plaintiff's questionable behavior, as the law takes precedence. For example, a tenant who breached minor terms of a rental agreement may still seek protection under tenancy law. Despite their misconduct, they are still entitled to relief because the law explicitly grants it.
Conclude, the maxim, he who seeks equity must come with clean hand, ensure that those seeking equitable remedies must have acted with honesty and integrity. It prevents individuals from using the court to benefit from their own wrongful conduct. Although this principle is typically enforced strictly, there are exceptions where the court may grant relief, particularly when public interest or preventing greater injustice outweigh the misconduct. This reflects the court's rules in balancing legal principle with fairness. Ultimately, the maxim upholds the ethical foundation of the legal system, ensuring that justice is not only legally sound but also morally fair, preserving public trust and maintaining integrity in administration of justice. That's all from us. Thank you.